Hello, welcome to the Winners Find a Way show. I am your host, Trent Clark, and I hope everybody is doing fabulous today. I may be having a video issue today, which is kind of weird, but I'm happy to be with you today. Maybe more of a podcast episode than today if we're going to be listening in. Excited about joining you and talking a little bit about the Winners Find a Way show. And our topic of the day is NIL, community for education and athletes. And it is a hot topic right now as things have really boomed in the collegiate world. For those who don't know what NIL is, that is name, image, and likeness. And so what happened a little over a year ago, July 1st, 2021, the NCAA approved NIL and name, image, likeness for college athletes. So any athlete could benefit and earn income off their name, image, likeness, which is a massive deal. I mean, it is a significant event in sports, and I think it's awesome, and it absolutely creates two of my favorite environments, which is one is athletics and the other one is entrepreneurship. Like you are going to be a brand manager and all of a sudden have these organizations are going to want to do deals with athletes and you're going to become a brand manager and need a company. And that is the first thing of NIL that athletes really need to do. I think there's tons of benefits from NIL. I do think there's some downside to NIL. We've kind of taken this as a ready, fire, aim approach. So there's a lot going on, and probably some of the unintended consequences are going to rear its head, such as pay to play programs and people being wooed by NIL offers and things like that to get kids into schools. Now, I will tell you, there are 480,000 college athletes, and there are probably some significant NIL deals for 1,000 or 2,000 of them. Of the top athletes that you see regularly on TV, college football players, college basketball players, very popular athletes in women's basketball, gymnastics, volleyball, swimming. I mean, if you are a popular person and happen to be an athlete, you become an influencer in that. And all of a sudden, NIL is a real opportunity. Now, what most people don't know is I think at the last check, there are 13 states that allow NIL education at the high school level and NIL opportunities. So high school athletes can make NIL money at that level. And so that becomes pretty interesting too, because kids that are getting signed and have followings, they can make an earning off their name, image, likeness. I will tell you, this is not new. Uh, Kids have been modeling in catalogs and doing all sorts of things for many, many years. They've done TV advertising, they are in shows. You watch TV every weekend, and I'm sure that you will watch an advertisement with a 12-year-old kid running across the yard, playing ball, doing that. That is an NIL deal. That is name, image, likeness, and he's being featured in a commercial for some reason, whether he looked good in their clothes or he's athletic or whatever reason that is. So this is not new by any means. It's just now that in the college athletic realm of NCAA, you are not considered ineligible if you take money. So super excited to announce we have a new brand, athletic influencer marketing, and aim for NIL.com. That's AIM for the number NIL.com. And we're excited about talking about that and starting to bring education and membership and community and supporting student athletes, families, and schools on how do we do this really well? How do we do NIL education very well? And we'll be starting with a campaign. Any athlete, any sport, any level can make up to $1,000 or more per month. That is a significant part-time job. And I couldn't do that as a two-sport Division I athlete. There is not a chance I had the time to earn that kind of money from a working position where I would go in, check in, do my hours. Of course, the wages are anywhere from $8 to $15, probably for a college level laborer, waiter, think about what jobs we're doing in that category. So this presents some real opportunities. And the reality is that at AIM, we really believe you can start earning NIL income by do-it-yourself basis right away without professional representation. You do not need an NIL agent. We do that, but you do not need it. Um, you can start simple. You can start now. And becoming an AIM member is probably pretty good. It's a good way to start. What are some of the benefits of getting good education? I mean, first of all, for student athletes, it's a big deal because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Um, you can certainly go quickly by learning how to make NIL income at your own pace, how to do it online, how to create your own LLC, and understand the learning basics of money around taxes, record keeping, and compliance, and having your own limited liability company for a level of protection, which is so important. And then you gain real world experience by setting up and actually running your own business. Many people do it. I mean, how many high school kids have lawn services, babysitting groups? I mean, kids have been doing this from the word go. This is not too difficult and new for folks. So it's definitely feasible. But for me, looking professional with, an athletic-influencer.com profile is a big deal. Having a sample contract ready to go and prepared is significant in your ability to show up as a professional, like you know what you're doing. Just like if I ask my babysitter to come down, she says, "Hey, here's my certification. I've taken my classwork. I have CPR." I'm like, "Wow, this young lady or young man is prepared to actually watch my kids, and they take this seriously, and they're managing their responsibility." So being a professional about that's a big deal. It's going to be a huge attractor for future employers coming out of school, developing your professional skills and having this in your back pocket. It's also a great chance to give back, do some good in your community of your choice or your charity, and certainly earning more followers and more engagement and more NIL income through social media and video content best practices or something that can be taught. For families, there's really that factor of like, hey, you enjoy that peace of mind knowing your child has the tools to get started on this journey and understanding how it's work and know kind of the pitfalls of it and what's dangerous and what's not, as well as ensure you and your family are protected legally by setting up the business entity and having that layer of protection, and then getting a head start on having your child learn NIL basics. One of the big things that we talk to a lot of athletes about is start learning in high school. Start learning now. I mean, if you're planning on being a college athlete in 2 years, you will be way ahead of the game learning how to do that now. And that when you go, you hit the ground running. There is so much to learn, so much to adapt to in your first year at university, especially as an athlete with a new coach, new teammates from all over the world, new place to live, first time living away from home. There are so many new things to add. Hey, now I'm going to start and learn NIL. That's a pretty big challenge and a pretty tall order when it's pretty important that you stay focused on your schooling, your education, taking care of yourself, and certainly sport that you're playing are higher priorities as you're getting going. So, um, but you definitely want to get that head start by having your son or daughter learn your NIL basics before they get to college. For schools, coaches, administrators, there's a big value to save time and money um, using a party to educate your NIL education, your in-house team, the athletes themselves, getting clear understanding of how they can do it better and understanding business process behind that. That's for sure. And then, of course, the assurance that your student athletes are learning NIL and business skills um, from former college athletes with a high professional reputation and integrity and ethics. It's going to actually allow those athletes to grow and develop, and that's certainly what we want to see. And also reduce any risk of non-compliance issues and having any violation, which is would land in suspension or loss of time on the field, which nobody wants. I mean, everyone wants to do this right. So I think that's really big. For those out there that are first, starting out, you're looking for brands. Like one of the brands I started out with was with a friend who owned Rebellious Beverage. He was a long time executive and person in the sports beverage, having worked with PepsiCo and uh, Kraft Foods, and really having an interest. And he went on his own to strike up drinkrebellious.com. And man, right now I'm enjoying their pure energy drink called Tenacious, which I love. I also love Courageous, also a favorite. But just a guy's thinking about what we're doing and what we're putting in our children. Organic foods, loaded antioxidants. Sweetener by monk fruit, where we don't have a bunch of garbage products. It's 100% plant based. So, I just really love that. When I look at an ingredient on a package, you go, man, this is an organic brewed green tea, organic flavors, organic concentrated lemon juice, organic monk fruit extract, organic fruit and vegetable juice. I mean, 100 milligrams of antioxidants, some good caffeine, which is giving me the energy for sure. And it is 100% awesomeness. So, love Rebellious Beverage. And so, when I look about doing things with folks, I want to align myself with things that add value to me. I don't want to give my children or my athletes bad products, and I want to align myself with products that um, are aligned with my values and help other people. So that's a big deal and an easy choice on a company like Rebellious Beverage. So those are really important things for athletes as they get going. Where do they want to land? What are they passionate about? Those are such big things. Certainly, when you're getting this NIL, there's moving fast. So joining a community and a membership is pretty important because as things change and adapt, they're getting updated on what's happening in the world and how I can continue to remain compliant and be smart about that. Those are huge things in the NIL world that becomes so important for a young student athlete and for the staff themselves and the coaches and the administrators that are trying to keep up with things that are going pretty fast. So and in addition, as this came aboard, as we look at it from an administrator standpoint from these universities, they already had staff, and now someone on their staff has to take this on or hire a new staff. So this is a potential new cost center and certainly more responsibility for an organization now that they didn't have prior. So as we get challenged in that, um, understanding that these are the things that different levels are working with, and certainly as a parent, we're talking about that public persona, personal branding, and now our young child or young adult is now going to be absolutely putting themselves out there and promoting a brand or promoting something that they want to stand for, and how that's going to look and how they're going to do that well and still show in the integrity of things that are going on in their life. So such a big and important deal. So um as people are trying to navigate this, we just really encourage people to get educated and start learning. There is a ton of do-it-yourself education that can be done. There is a lots of opportunity out there for student athletes at all levels. There are tons of community resources to help them along and work with them. So super excited about this NIL space. Uh, am I concerned? I get this question a lot. One of the questions I had today for the show was, "Are you concerned about the NIL and becoming this big business?" Well, I mean, I think we're long past big business at college sports. I mean, the TV contracts are absolutely crazy, and it has become absolutely massive business, even if we're just talking about the college football playoffs or we're talking about March Madness. I mean, just those two events alone are producing millions and millions of dollars in TV rights, and it is significant. So, the option and opportunity for athletes to start enjoying this benefit, I think, is big. I think it's going to take a while to get a good balance of how this thing really fits and works well. But right now, it creates tons of opportunity for student athletes. So we're super excited about that and helping student athletes come along and learn that and helping kids who want to be student athletes learn that. So if you're a parent and you see yourself having a child who's going to be a young adult and head off to university to play sports, this is a real opportunity for kids to work and make some earnings, build some confidence in themselves, and have a bunch of fun doing it. I mean, this is while every job has work, and I don't think we all ever forget that work is effort, and it takes that in order to be successful. So this is no different. But there are a ton of things that athletes can do themselves and create real value in the market. And there's been proof of this for years. It's not like kids are on an island. There are tons of influencers out there. You can look at YouTube and you can look at Instagram and TikTok, and there are many people making significant amount of money in followership and engagement in the social media space that are younger than 18 years old, that have signed significant contracts and brand deals and brand ambassador programs. And it's fabulous. And these athletes who have spent a lot of time shaping their craft, their bodies in preparation for the sport, and their minds in strategy, and the time and effort is rewarded in how I can benefit from my name and image and likeness as an athlete in this university, representing the university, myself, my family, and doing it in a great way that's very productive, that has really a win-win-win environment. The university wins by getting, very high quality kids that have engagement, that have followership, that bring additional eyes and attention to the university, to the sports, to the facilities. And then the athletes themselves benefit from monetary means, charitable means, all sorts of different things, which is a lot of confidence, and can be a great way to pay off student debt and loans. And we have to be cautious of that, because if an athlete earns really well and they're in the Pell or in student financial aid, they need to that could be affected by making NIL money. So there has to be some real guidance along, which is why you want to get yourself in a community where you can get good guidance. And then, of course, the vendors themselves and the brands who really want to align, they get a lot of benefit from an athlete who promotes them and promotes their brand with a lot of followers who are very engaged. The one real big advantage of athletics and college sports is that the average engagement is 4 to 5 times higher on college athletes than it is on when compared to a social influencer that's in a brand market. So that becomes very interesting, because we are, as a whole, as a culture, really ingrained in our college sports, and our alumni is tied to the university. So there's a lot of engagement, wanting to see success from these kids and following them and seeing them launch their life. And part of it's probably sentimental from our time when we were there at that age. And part of it is our loyalty and our brand and our desire to see our universities do well. And certainly part of it is from our hometown, who share in the success of a community member who's been a part of it, who's received coaching from fellow parents, and lifted up by the community in coaching and facilities that have helped this athlete along the way. So it's a real community type process for athletes to get along and move forward and head off to university and then become a part of a new community. So this NIL space, to get into a community of NIL, just makes sense. So super excited about what's to come in the athletic NIL space, and really encourage those young athletes out there. If you're a high school athlete and you're a sophomore or later and you're thinking about heading to college, definitely want to get and join a community. Start getting yourself educated in the NIL space, as you see yourself in that, and learning, hey, how this could really be an avenue of earnings and a way to have some fun, be a part of a community, and shape some advantages for the athlete. Another advantage, uh, in addition to our university education, and another real time and real world education for these young student athletes. And so really excited for the men and women out there as they join the universities and make these packs and join with brands and learn business. It's going to be super exciting to watch these next few years as it continues to develop. And I'm fortunate to be a part of it with aim4nil.com. And can't wait to see if you have any questions for me. Please reach out to me on any of the social networks, ones you're listening to now, or directly on my email at tc@aim4nil.com. Until next time on the Winners Find a Way show, super excited to bring you a guest next Friday that we're just can't wait to hear from. As always, we're bringing the top 1%ers and their challenges and their route to their world of entrepreneurship, sport, athletes, business, um, community, things that have created real value for other people. And we do that to bring the best to you each and every time on the Winners Find a Way show. So every Friday, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. And please check out all of our podcasts on all your streaming podcast networks at the Winners Find a Way show. We'll see you next time.